hi all my LGBT friends and others. It's my day off and I've just been having things cleaned up and anyway, the Lord has been putting in my mind and heart to talk more about connecting the dots with the eunuch, I think. So today I met another neighbor who's Jewish, Christian, and a lesbian. And Joyce wants to get together and do some Bible studies. So I think that's just fantastic, and I'm so excited. And so we're gonna try to get together. We haven't made a date yet, but we will be doing that soon, as some things fall into place for her, which should be soon. And then I'll let you know how that goes. Okay, so be praying for that. I did some of my own writings today. A eunuch in the Bible. It's, the eunuch is mentioned many times in the Bible. Something like, 30 times in the Old Testament, and the New Testament, at least 10 times maybe in the New Testament. And so I just wanted to, the eunuchs that are in the Bible, and the Bible doesn't always call a eunuch in the Bible. They may call this person a chamberlain, the captain of the army was named this person, but they may not say that person was a eunuch, okay? Or the head of the bedchambers, but doesn't mention the name eunuch, okay? And most of the time, they were homosexuals or eunuchs, or bisexual men made into eunuchs. Their privy parts were castrated, or they were captives or slaves, or they were made into eunuchs by other men, okay, and so forth, which I'll go over in just a moment. As you know, the leading scholar of Princeton, I'm trying to remember his name off the top of my head, Gannon is his name, believes that the ancient eunuch is most likely today's homosexual, okay? So in Isaiah 56:3, it mentions the eunuch, and I like this verse, and I'll read it to you. Neither let the son of a stranger, a Gentile, okay, this is a stranger, that had joined himself to the Lord, speak, saying, the Lord hath utterly separated me from his people. Neither let the eunuch say, behold, I am a dry tree. And in Jeremiah 52:25, it mentions the eunuch, and then it goes into Acts. I have Acts here. 2 Kings 9:32 and 20:18 mention the eunuch. Isaiah again mentions the eunuch. 39:7, Isaiah 56:4 mentions the eunuch. Jeremiah 29:2, Jeremiah 34:19, Jeremiah 38:7, Jeremiah 41:6, 52:25, Daniel, first chapter 3, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 18. Daniel 1:9 is very interesting because it says that the eunuch gave tender love to Daniel, okay? And Matthew 19:12, of course, is my favorite, which says, for there are some eunuchs which were born from their mother's womb, some eunuchs which were made eunuchs of men, and there be eunuchs which have made themselves eunuchs for the sake of heaven. He that is able to receive it, let him receive it. Okay, so those are the things that I took out today. And then as I was researching, I came across a website, Homosexual Eunuchs and the LGBT. Let's see if I got it right. Yeah, I think that's right. I think you put it homosexual eunuchs and the Bible, okay? And you will find it. And if I correct myself, I'm gonna, okay, I will. But let me just read this because I don't have that much time here. These are not my words, okay? Somebody else wrote this, and I'll tell you who it is. It's born eunuch / LGBT. Who were the homosexuals in the Bible? Jesus said this, for there are eunuchs who are born so from their mother's womb. There are eunuchs who are made eunuchs by men, and there are eunuchs who made themselves eunuchs for the sake of the kingdom of heaven. To him who can comprehend, that is enough. Matthew 19:12. Lamza. The Aramaic word for it's plural, is mahemni, is translated as eunuchs here, but literally means the trusted ones, faithful ones, and believers. These trusted ones were also servants such as chamberlains, eunuchs, and officers. Additionally, mahemni meant homosexual men because they were trusted around women that were married and were not of their family. They weren't a threat in committing adultery with other men's wives or having premarital sex with the women of the nation. The born eunuchs in the above verse from Matthew are referring to homosexual men. The second part of the verse says that there are eunuchs who are made eunuchs by men. These would be the man-made castrated eunuchs. Also the eunuchs who were made eunuchs by men were those appointed by the king to the servants in the king's palace. Some of these were prisoners of war, captives, and exiles, Isaiah 39:7, Lamza. And this part of the verse should be read as, and there are believers who made themselves celibates for the sake of the kingdom of heaven. Throughout the ancient nations that included Egypt, Babylon, Assyria, and Persia, homosexuals were exalted to such positions as eunuchs that watched the women of the harem. Because of the mistrust of men, heterosexual or bisexual men were castrated, but homosexual men didn't need to be. Eunuchs also had a recognized place in homosexual prostitution, and youths chosen as catamitic favorites were sometimes castrated. Homosexuality, as long confused with eunuchry, eunuchry, like effeminacy and hermaphroditism, eunuchry were sometimes thought of as creating a woman-man. The following verses will show that the Bible defines the trusted ones or eunuchs as homosexual men. Now God had brought Daniel in favor and tender love with the prince, Sar, ruler, captain of the eunuchs. I've mentioned this before in other videos. Sar was used in the Hebraic, okay, language. Daniel 1:9 of the KJV. The first underlined word is from Hebrew word Chesed, K-H-E-E-S-D, which means loving kindness, mercy, and favor, and is translated as favor in this verse. The second underlined word is from the Hebrew word rakamim, which is translated as tender love here, but means love. Daniel was given favor and love in the presence of the prince of the eunuchs. Most likely, the intimate word rakamim, meaning love, was given to Daniel because he was handsome. And he was. Everybody says Daniel was really handsome. A second evidence where the Bible shows that eunuchs are gay men is in Daniel 14:2. of the New American Bible, which says Daniel was king's favorite and held in higher esteem than any of the friends of the king. In the Aramaic Old Testament, the word friends is replaced with the Aramaic word Ramah, which means lovers of him, i.e. the king. Ramah is from the singular Aramaic word Ramah or Ramim, which means love. Chapters 13 and 14 in the Catholic canon of Scripture, the Aramaic Old Testament contains 14 chapters of Daniel. The Aramaic text of Daniel also has the Song of the Three Children, or Prayer of Hananiah and his companions, Aramaic name for that portion. After verse 23 of chapter 3, Dr. Lamza, being a Protestant, just left out the additional parts of Daniel and Esther, plus the deuterocanonical books of Dr. Lamza, did insert an extra sentence in verse 23 that's not in the Masoretic text, but in the Aramaic and Greek text of Daniel. People, okay. The translators of the New American Bible translated the Greek word, sorry, I hope that thing doesn't interfere with my video. Okay. The translator of the New American Bible translate the Greek word symbolites as favorites, but that is incorrect. Symbiotes, according to Liddell and Scott, means the one who lives with companion. That matches the Aramaic text, which says that Daniel was living with the king. Ooh! The additional words or text found in the Old Testament book of Daniel in both Aramaic and Greek texts are probably not inspired. Included in this verse of the Aramaic text to show that an Aramaic speaker would have understood eunuchs to be active homosexual men, as they were often the king's lovers. Boga or Bagag's Greece pronunciation was the eunuch lover of Darius the Persian and eventually became the lover of Alexander the Great. There is a good reason to believe that the so-called deuterocanonical books are inspired, or at least most of them, but no good reason to believe the additions to Esther and Daniel are inspired. These additions are not in the original Hebrew text of either Esther or Daniel. The following shows where Saris appears in the Bible, since it isn't always translated as eunuch in the English Bible like it is in the Greek Bible. Okay, Saris meaning eunuch, meaning homosexual. Okay, in the Hebrew Old Testament, the word Saris is translated two ways. In the NKJV Old Testament, it is translated as eunuch and officer. The KJV also translated Saris as the chamberlain. Can't speak today. It is also left untranslated with the additional word as Rab-saris in the KJV, which means the chief eunuch. The Hebrew word Saris is translated as Mahamna in the Aramaic Old Testament, with the exception of two places which are in bold print below. Dr. George Lamza translated the word Mahana as officer and eunuch in his English translation of the Aramaic Bible, the Old and New Testaments. The following shows that the words Saris and Mahamna appear in the Bible. In the Old Testament, which I've already said some of it, Genesis 37, 36, 39, 1, 40, verse 2, 40, verse 7, 1 Samuel chapter 8, verse 15, 1 Kings chapter 22, 9, 2 Kings chapter 8, 6, chapter 9, 32, chapter 18, 17, chapter 20, 18, chapter 23, 11, chapter 24, 12, chapter 24, 15, and so forth. I mean, it's mentioned many, many times in the Old Testament. And so that's the end of this, really. And I just wanted to share this with you to show you, because we have to make ourselves approved before God, okay, that the ancient eunuch, the ancient Saris, is today's homosexual. So enjoy your weekend. Be blessed. Know that you are a blessing. Okay, bye-bye.